Hi, welcome to Hot Topics from the Soul. I'm your host, Dr. Valerie Parker Hagan, and I'm so delighted to be here with you. You know, it's my desire to always empower and inspire individuals to live their greatest life and maximize their potential. And today is no exception. I have with me Dr. Peter Rios. He's a motivational speaker, author, and coach trainer. Dr. Rios, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. Thank you, Dr. Val, for having me. How's everything going?
Oh, it's great. We're having torrential rain falls down here, but that's only the glory coming down.
You got to enjoy the weather. Periodic rain. We need the rain. The water's good.
Absolutely. And this is Men's Empowerment Month. And, you know, I
Right.
salute my kings. I love my kings. And I thought it fitting to have you so that you can encourage our men, especially, and how they can maximize their potential. Because, you know, really, it doesn't matter how you started, it matters
Mm,
how you finish.
that's right. That's right. I'm really excited about this show, and even thank you for inviting me in this particular month. I wasn't always maximizing my life, to be honest. Right? Let's keep it real. Sometimes people see folks that have had some level or having some success, and they don't really know the story. There was a point in my life when I was living without goals. Just going
Mm.
through motions, pretty much content in mediocrity. And it wasn't until I just had this divine encounter and just shook me up and was like something in me said, like, you need to stand and you need to figure out what you believe in and where are you going. Stop walking around like a zombie. You have a purpose. You have a calling. You have greatness within you, right? Like our friend Les Brown says. And I'm like, you're right. Like, I'm just, I wasn't, just going through the motions and just really thinking like, who am I called to? What are my passions? What are my desires? What pain points do I see in the world and society? And in my case, the Latinx, the Hispanic community and people of color in general. Like, I want to deal with these inequities. I want to help and empower our communities so they can be better. And so that's when the mentoring started, the empowerment, the education, the journeys of failures. But here we are, and it's definitely been a journey. And if I have been able to do it, the listeners, those who are listening, so can you.
You know, talked about the Hispanic community, and but it transcends because at the end of the day, you're all men, just like we're all women. We're human beings, and we thrive from different capacities in life. Some of us have had rough upbringings, and then some of us, you know, we were in a whole household, but there was still adversity. So, you know, speaking from your perspective and how that shift caused in your life, what was your aha moment that, you know, allowed you to even embrace a larger vision of yourself?
That's a great question. I think that there's been multiple aha moments, right? As you know, there are levels to this. And so, you know, one hitting rock bottom after, I served in the Marine Corps
Mhm.
from 99 to 2003. And then I came out and I went back to my neighborhood trying to go to school, but failed community college miserably. I failed out of community college 3 times. I had to go to 3 different community colleges. At that time, I was trying to find myself being in the military, now being back in the civilian life. It was a difficult transition. Transition change is hard, right? And I ended up having some addictions and having issues with alcohol, and so when I had this encounter, like I said, of just this inspiration, this divine encounter of like, listen, you are not just anyone. It was like shaking me like this, like, you have a purpose. And I would hear my grandmother's voice, Lourdes, who raised me, growing up in a faith community and just seeing how she worked in the community, in and out of empowering and encouraging others, hearing her saying, like, you're going to be something great one day. You're going to impact the world. You're going to go and you're going to, I never really, like, I said, okay, she's just saying it because she loves me, right? But that was like the beginning. And then there was different parts, of the journey, mentors, so to say. I had an angel, Dr. Lila Denoya, who encountered me, who came and begin to, confront me with my fixed mindset, saying you need to transition into a growth mindset. Like, because you are, in the hood, so to say, or because you are in public housing, doesn't mean you need to stay there. Doesn't mean, you need to live there for the rest of your life. And I never heard that language. She was the first one who took me to a university campus. So she gave me the exposure, right? And so these were different points of life where, just getting that exposure and seeing, there's more to life than what I'm living. And once you get bit by that entrepreneurial bug, or that motivational, inspirational bug, something in you has to be awakened. And that's what happened to me. I began to, get educated, and finally I did okay. I got my bachelor's as an adult. And so all through my late 20s and all my 30s, I've been in school. I'm 45 now. But, to now I have 2 doctoral degrees. Who would have ever thought this kid from public housing who failed miserably community college, who has had to overcome addiction and all these other things, is now, consulting at prestigious institutions like Harvard, and, just meeting wonderful people like you, so it's an amazing journey. And I can say this now. I am not any more special than anyone listening right now. And you just need to make the decision that you are someone with greatness within you. You have a call to maximize your life for this generation, and you can do it. You may need to get help, and so, but it's possible. And so that's the story, that's part of the story and the journey, Dr. Val.
Yeah, I was drawn to you the first time I heard you because I think you were an extraordinary speaker and communicator. And, one of the things you talked about is having an addiction and serving our country. Can you speak to those that may be listening that are in that place of stuck? A lot of times we get in situations in our life where we're sitting in a car parked with the engine running and can't move or go anywhere because we're stuck in this space and we don't know how to cause that shift. And you wrote this book, Maximize
Yes.
Your Potential. There's 12 keys to maximizing. So can you speak to that? Don't share your book and let people know how they can order the book, because I believe individuals need to invest in themselves. And that's one of the things that we as people fail to do. We don't want to invest in ourselves. We just want people to tell us how to do it. But the best way to learn how to do it is to invest in products and services that can cause that shift for us to get to the next level. So again, talk about the addiction, you serving your country, and then what that looked like transitioning out of that space.
Yeah, so I served in the Marine Corps, which was an amazing opportunity and great time. I got to live overseas, so from New York, going to live in Okinawa, Japan, South Korea, California. It was like, wow, a whole new world, right? Yes. And so, but I ended up becoming an alcoholic in the Marines. It's part of the culture of drinking if you get caught up in that, and I did. But when I came out, got involved in other, drugs, just to be honest. And so, hit a rock bottom, and, like many, who I'm sure probably, like you said, sit in the car are suffering in silence, which you don't need to be, because sometimes, you get pinned down, or you begin to think that you are the only one that's ever felt like this, or the only one has this habit or these addictions, and you're not. And so it wasn't until I started to get help, I got therapy, counselors, pastors, people of faith, no faith, any faith, people just surrounding me, loving me, empowering me, speaking life into me. And it's been a journey. September 3rd, 2006. I found myself in a rehab center. Dr. Val, you don't know this about me, but I'm just going to break it down. And I was in a rehab center. And is it okay to talk a little bit about faith in this show?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Sure, because people need to know that there's different aspects of arriving to your place called there. Yes. A lot of people are trying to get there, but don't know what that looks like and how that feels like. So I want you to share how you arrived at your place called there.
Sure. So my there was September 3rd, 2006. I was in Gowanda, New York, in a rehab center. after a whole week of just being out and about, not sleeping, living a purposeless life, and just in the, addictions. And I found myself in a rehab asking for help. And in that 3 days of being in a detox type program, I was going to be put in a 60-day program, and I was looking forward to it. Like, I'm going to
I
leave
want to
here.
interject. So how did you find yourself there? Did someone check you in, or did you get to your level of enough?
I hit a rock bottom. I said, I am sick and tired. You know, the old saying of being sick and tired.
Okay.
And I looked at myself in the mirror that morning. I was in a friend's house, and I looked dark, not literally, but I felt dark. I felt I was in a bad space, mentally, physically, emotionally. And so I said, I need help. I need to go get help. And I called my mother, and I told her, please take me to this place. And she came and she took me. And in 3 days there, they were going to transition me into the program. But on the third day that I was there, I was looking outside the window. It was raining like it is right now in Florida and in the Caribbean. And it was gray, and I just felt miserable. And I just, my grandmother raised me in church. She raised me in the faith. But her religion was never really my own. It was hers. I would go to church and participate, plus, church is fun. I always had, friends, but it never really sunk in. It never took root. And at that place, that rock bottom, that awful, I was feeling miserable. I just said, God, if you're for real, you need to do something with me, because if not, I don't think that I can. I'm sorry. I don't think I can continue. I think I will kill myself. I was suicidal. Looking back now, I don't think I would have done it, but it was a desperate cry. It was like, I just can't. And
But that's something the enemy does as a distraction to make us think that if we do that, that it will end it all. But it may end it all for you, but it begins with your family, because they have to deal with the aftermath. So I
right.
always tell individuals that if you feel that way, don't, rob us of who you're to become.
Right.
Because who you are right now is not all there is. This is just the beginning. And sometimes we have to go through the refiner's fire in order to get through to the other side. This is just the beginning. But if we could just envision ourselves on the other side, maximizing and living to our full potential, oh, the glory that shall be revealed.
You preach. I'm going to have to send you an offering after this show.
No, but I mean, I just, it's so many that are thinking that way and forget about the aftermath that it leaves on those that really, truly love you.
Yeah. And for me, again, not to be overly spiritual, religious for people who are listening to us, and maybe they've never heard of this type of talk, but at that time in that room, I said that, and I went to bed. I woke up the next day and I felt different. I felt happy. And I went to the restroom and I went to the mirror. And when I looked in the mirror, I heard a voice. It was like, I didn't literally hear something, but I felt something, but the voice said, you told me to do something with you. Mm-hmm. And when I looked at myself in the mirror, I saw myself for the first time in many years, how I had not, seen myself before. Remember a few days ago, I was feeling dark and miserable. And now I saw light. I saw, the Peter who I could be. And I just fell on my face right then. I started crying because I understood that it was God who was visiting me and just saying, I am real. Forget religion. Forget, all of these things, organized. I am real.
I like what you said, organized religion.
Right. Right.
Man-made religions, but the deity of the Lord is who he is. He is the Alpha and Omega. He stands alone. He doesn't need a building to validate his power and his grace and his mercies.
Yes. And right there in Gowanda, New York, in that rehab center, in that bathroom, I'm on my face crying and just asking God to have, I said, God, have your way with me. Whatever you want to do with my life, it's not mine. It's yours. And it's been a crazy journey. I started to go to school. I started to just push into who I really, set goals like, okay, I want to help people who have been in addiction. I want to help people who are struggling. I started to speak at youth camps and different meetings, conferences. I started to get invitations to speak from that story. But as I got educated and began to work in higher education, things started to expand, right? And it was, it's just been amazing that, if just think about it like this, if I would have ended it all in September 3rd, 2006, I wouldn't even be here with you right now. I wouldn't have written already 2 books, have traveled a lot. I've lived in 4 different countries, and so that if you're listening to us, you're struggling, there can and there will be a better day. If you are, whether it's addiction, a bad relationship, maybe you've gotten fired or you're trying to figure out your business, you can do it, and things will happen. It takes time though. And I love what, Les says about you don't have to be great to
Yes,
start.
Les Brown did that quote.
Yeah, you don't have to be great to start, but you do have to
get
start
started.
to get great. I mean, you do have to start to become great. And that was the journey. And I'm still developing. I'm still learning, right? I'm still seeking to be the best version of myself. And that's what Maximize is all about. 12 keys to unlocking your greatest potential. It's available on Amazon and other bookstores, even in Kindle. It's a blueprint. It's a guide for you to take and go through each chapter. There's questions at the end that will help you to make or to create a strategic plan for your own life, for personal, leadership, spiritual, and professional development. Those 4 areas, really trying to empower the reader to take ownership of their lives, right? You need to take ownership of your life, and you need to realize that you are carrying something special, and you need to die empty. You can't be dying full. You can't leave us without manifesting yourself fully to this world, because whatever is in you, we need. That's why you were brought here in the first place. So we're waiting on you.
Absolutely. A lot of men, particularly, because we're talking about men empowerment and inspiring them to be a greater version of themselves. Men particularly feel like when they missed it, that they've disappointed people because they haven't had the job. They haven't been the greatest father because, they get men have low self-esteem. They can have an exterior that they look big and bad, but inside it's like, I've not accomplished anything in my life. I've not done anything value. Can you speak to that aspect of human intelligence for those that are lacking in that capacity?
I think it's normal. I think at times, especially you have seasons where you may feel like you're not enough, or we live in a society where, everything's like, have it, get it done now. I think the difference is, living in that space or just going through it. And if you're living in that space, I would challenge you, to challenge yourself. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to our generation to become the best version of yourself. And what's the best thing that we can do is give ourselves a second chance, give ourselves a third chance. And so I have been hard on myself before, but I have learned now, be kind, to be kind to myself. I've learned to give grace to myself. Like, I'm not going to get it right all the time, and like, I think that takes a certain level of maturity to realize, like, being a real man, and this goes for women too, but being a true human being in your essence is to be kind to yourself, and to know that just do your best and something good will come out of it. But being down on ourselves, it's not going to help, because it's all that negativity and all of that negative energy really pulls you down. And so that's why every day, I'm listening to positive affirmations, messages, speeches, talks, right? I read every day. I build myself up so that I can do what I'm doing. And I think that, depending on what you're consuming on a daily basis, that's most likely how you'll feel. So if you're hearing all day, you're no good, or, you're watching foolish stuff on social media, like, I don't have time for that. I'm trying to be empowered so I can go and empower. And I think that, start there, that you are somebody special. You have amazing talents and gifts. And you know what? This world needs strong, faithful, men, right? We need men. We need fathers. We need good brothers who are sons, uncles who are serving society and who are ethical and who are living a life from values, right? And from love. And so, I think that that's what we need. And that's what actually makes the difference. And that's what will help you stand out. It's easy to be I'm going to just say like this, a cheap Chico, a person who's just doing him. I'm just going to do me. And that's an easy ticket, an easy way out, but to be a person of integrity, of faithfulness, of responsibility, of leadership, it takes work. But I'm telling you, it is worth it, Dr. Val. It is worth it.
Absolutely. Life is work. It's hard. It's never going to be easy. Let's talk about failing our way. Les Brown says we fail our way to success. And, we know that a lot of celebrities and people that we aspire to be like because we see them on the big screen or see them on the athletic field. And we like, wow, if I could just do that. But, they put in work.
Right.
They put in the work to get to where they have to go. And we are always one person away from a breakthrough. But we have to get started, as you said, Dr. Peter. We have to get started in those things that we envision for ourselves. And, men, if you're in a relationship that's not feeding you emotionally to be the best version of yourself, then you need to change partners. It's tight, but it's right. I've said it to my lady friends and stuff. If you're in a situation that's toxic, then you need to cause a shift because it would hurt both of you. And also if there's children involved, it would hurt them too, but never, ever, ever stop being a father if you have children. Regardless of what relationships you have with that mother, you always remain a father, and you always remain present, and you always remain there. You don't have to physically be there, but be there. We have cell phones. Back in the day, you had, what do you call it? Beepers.
Yeah.
Text and check in. You have social media platforms.
FaceTime.
You can talk and stay in communication with individuals by social media platforms, even if you don't have a cell phone. So there is no excuse. Yep. We need you there, men. We need you present.
To show up.
We need you live.
Right. So true. So true. Showing up is, the first step, right? Just being there, being present. And that's the best thing that we can do.
Absolutely. Again, Dr. Peter, it has been a pleasure here with you, and you can give the website and let the guests know what they should expect to find when they go to your website, and how they can connect with you should they want some coaching training or to have you in as a speaker.
Thank you, Dr. Val. You can find me at peterriosconsulting.com. Also on all my socials at Dr. Peter Rios. That's Dr. Peter Rios. And we'd be happy to partner with you on your next event or anything else. On my website, you'll find some freebies, free chapters, free ebooks, things like that. So visit us, and we look forward to connecting. Thank you, Dr. Val, for having me. It's been a blessing.
Thank you so much. And don't forget to share this show with individuals to keep them inspired and challenged to live the best version of themselves. And subscribe to Hot Topics from the Soul. Thank you.